You're watching House Sparks Mega Worldwide. Like, subscribe, share the show, spread it around, let people know we're here. Let them know we're there. I'm not going to do all of this one because I think his videos are on the long side as well. But this is that Lee Camp video. Are these buttons going to ever work? What are you doing? Nope, I guess not. All right, I'm on my own today. On my own, all alone. Yeah, so here we go. Let's change the subject. Ooh, same dumb face he has on the Israel kills people just for the fun of it video. Fucking lazy. All right, here we go. So this is Blinken's propaganda reveal.
Face the Nation interview with Antony Blinken. I'm gonna try and get. I find it so painful, but I'm gonna try. For you guys. I'm doing this for you. I'm trying. Oh God, here we go.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken, who is at the State Department. Good morning to you, Mr. Secretary.
Morning, Margaret. Good to be with you.
Oh, and he's playing it at twice the speed and pretending he hasn't seen it
It's
already.
a little fast. I watch it on fast forward because there's no reason to like actually listen to these people at normal speed. But anyway, so
it's a good idea. Hold on one second. I don't make it harder to hear Blinken, but yeah, fuck this dude.
I'll lower it to 1.1 speed though.
Tension is very high in the region. Are you changing your security posture? Are you
Tension. So I'm going to try and point out each propaganda term that's used, but it's not. Sometimes it's so much you can't even do it. But tension is high in the region. Think about it for a second. They're perpetrating a genocide, and rather than saying thousands of innocent people are being murdered and are on the cusp of dying from other things, medical problems. There's babies in incubators. Like, remember that fake story from Iraq? Well, now it's real. There's babies in incubators that the backup generators
Yeah, it's real because Hamas said it.
of the hospitals that still exist that haven't been bombed.
Yeah, they haven't gone out.
When that power goes out, those babies will just die.
Okay. Yeah, when the power goes out, those babies would just die because the UN workers in there and the Palestinians themselves go like, I got to get the fuck out of here. I don't need to save those kids. Fuck it. Also, tensions in the region doesn't have to do with Israel and Gaza. They're talking about all the other countries around it.
So anyway, my point is just she's not saying, hey, thousands of innocent people are being murdered, and she can, if she wants.
Or thousands of people were just murdered. You don't give a fuck about them. They're Jewish.
She can mention the Israelis. So 1,500 Israelis were murdered and 6,000 Palestinians, Gazans so far.
Nope. No. That is a fake number. I have no doubt a lot have been killed, but Hamas is just handing out that number. There were 500 killed in the hospital bombing, according to them. And there was the cars around the explosion site were still intact. The fuck out of there. There wasn't a camp. People were in the building. The building didn't come down. That's a lie.
Israel has 10,000 hostages. What are you doing about that? That would be a legit way, the real way.
Israel doesn't have 10,000 hostages. They have prisoners that they've taken, and it's 5,000. I thought was the number. But they're not ransoming. They weren't holding them to ransom something from Hamas. They stopped them because they were. Either they had guns, or they tried to kill somebody, or they were successful in killing. What are you talking about?
Ask it. That's the question. But she can't say that. She has to do propaganda, even in her question. So her question is, tensions are high.
In the region, Lebanon, Iran, Iraq, Turkey, Syria, that area. That the region.
Doesn't that sound? It sounds almost like, like tensions are high. Sounds like you're baking a cake and you're also trying to watch your toddler at the same time, and like he's screaming and you're trying to open the oven to like check on it, and that feels like tensions are high. This feels more like
that's because you're petty.
Genocide is high.
This feels more like genocide is high. Again, the population of the Palestinians has doubled in the last 20 years.
Pulling any U.S. personnel out of the area.
Margaret,
I mean, not even thinking of demanding they stop their genocide. Just are you thinking of getting the hell out of there?
we are concerned.
Well, again, stop demanding they stop their genocide, which is again not happening. But again, because the goal isn't to like wipe out all Palestinians. The hunt is directly for Hamas, and this has been the stated form. Apparently, that just translates into killing everybody. Meanwhile, Hamas has in their mission statement to wipe out the Jews permanently, which is it was a purpose-driven document about genocide. Never mind that.
At the possibility of Iranian proxies escalating their.
So there you go. He's already shifted it to Iran. You've got
She's talking about the region, fuckwad. That's why she said region.
Israel murdering innocent people by the minute. And he's like, Iran? Let me tell you what Iran did. Fuck Iran. They didn't do shit. They haven't done shit.
They funded Hamas.
The U.S. and Israel have done a lot. Israel is bombing children with U.S. bombs right now. Well, let me tell you about Iran.
attacks.
And wait, is Hamas bombing Israelis with Palestinian bombs then? I mean, 7,000 of them in less than 12 hours. Why? I mean, honestly, if you could say that it's not a fair fight, but you also, why wouldn't you refer to the Hamas rockets as Palestinian bombs in this case? Well, it's because Jews, that's why.
Against our own personnel, our own people. We're taking
Our own people, our own personnel. Well, first of all, you know what he means when he says U.S. personnel? This is the U.S. military stationed around the world because we're an empire and we think
No, we're not.
we own the world.
No, we don't.
That's what those are.
No, they aren't.
They're not just personnel.
The oil we guard is for the Kurds to finance themselves so that the Syrians don't wipe them out. We don't keep it. That's why Donald Trump was mad that we didn't keep the oil in Iraq. We don't keep the oil in these countries. We didn't force English on Germany and Japan afterwards. They're not satellite states like fucking Alaska. And the naval bases that we have, that even the one that Glenn was pretending to sort of think he knew about, they guard shipping lanes.
every measure to make sure that we can defend them and, if necessary, respond decisively. Not at all what we're looking for, not all we want, but we'll be prepared if that's what they choose.
It actually is what they want. They're trying to provoke. They've been trying to provoke Iran for years. They
Really? With the peace deal? That's what it was?
want to do everything they can to harm Iran.
Just to harm Iran. That's what they just want to harm Iran. That's what Americans wake up every day doing it. I think we all voted for the harm Iran ticket.
So they are looking for. They might not want all that war with Iran because Iran is pretty damn strong. Iran is not Iraq. So they might not want all that war, but they do want to harm Iran in all ways possible.
Used to do.
So it sounds like
Yeah, now, do we want to like? Well, here I'll show you Lee. This will be a little present for Lee. He'll get it. Let's see. Yeah. So this is let me just put it in these terms. This is what Lee Camp wants. He's going to talk about the way he's talking about Antony Blinken, just using kind of run of the mill conversation about, we're only, we're not bombing Hamas or going in after that kind of stuff. We're protecting our troops over there because if this spills out their tensions in the region, that kind of conversation, adult conversation. And the idea that we somehow just have this kind of fuck Iran attitude in America, which is very weird. And certainly I don't doubt it that it exists within the right wing. But the argument that Lee Camp is making is that Americans in general just want Iran to choke to death. Now, most sensible Americans know that the Iranian people largely are very Western friendly. They just are controlled by an Orthodox religious government that doesn't allow them to do so. And there's been, since the Arab Spring, there's been a lot more pushback against that draconian rule than previous. And the United States, Russia blames the United States, and so does Iran, for fucking around in their country, trying to convince their people that women should be able to walk around without their head covered, and like they should have the right to do that. This fucking madness. As if these people need any convincing on their, from us. That somebody's going to go, well, America wants me to get my head bashed in, so fuck it. Like, it's so gross. The attitude towards it. But let's be abundantly clear. This is what Lee Camp wants for the world. Wow, that's a very extreme statement. That's you're taking that's a very, very extreme example. Well, that's how he speaks of everyone that doesn't share his position. So I'm just giving as good as I get. And I believe that he thinks this would be better. It would be better if there were governments in place like this that could get these bitches in line. That's why Lee Camp worked at RT and let Vladimir Putin, a man who pushes his political rivals out of fucking windows or slaughters their entire families and makes it look like a murder-suicide, and then and has invaded 4 countries in the last decade and sent Wagner mercenary troops in to slaughter pregnant women in Somalia and in Chad and South Sudan and all these places in Africa. But they're the good guys because they don't that's not an empire. That's just Russia trying to get its shit back. And meanwhile, America, who is, even in these wars that we're engaged in, eventually detached from those countries. And even if our industry continues to work with them, or we have a military base, we don't control the actual government. If they ever did ask us to leave, we would. That's a conversation for another time. But let's be abundantly clear. This is the second girl that's made the news in Iran who was beaten for not wearing her hijab, for not covering her head, and died in custody. Her name is Armita Garavand. She's 16 years old. And she was beaten by the morality police because she would not cover her hair. She's dead. Her parents had to unplug her because she wouldn't wear a piece of cloth where somebody else wanted her to wear a piece of cloth. And that, according to Lee Camp, is preferable to how the rules apply inside democracies and inside the United States and elsewhere, in a country he lives in, while, like I said, Vladimir Putin used to pay his fucking bills. He was on RT for fucking years. So, anyways, we're not. There's no takeaway from this except that he's just an asshole and this is just childish. That said, I just want to be abundantly clear about that kind of slice of. We were having so much fun, and then it got so dark so fast.